Carl Schmitz, excuse me, as Thielen returned it for 14 yards.
That's going to be a battle here the rest of the camp, too. We know what Michael Kanan brings. We've been around him, if you're a Bucs fan, for years. And he's facing a challenge because some of his numbers weren't what I think people expected them to be. And he has a pretty decent-sized contract. So you got to bring him competition. Got to know if he's worth what you're going to be paying him this year, if he's going to be your starting punter.
He was originally spotted, too. He mentioned the Broncos' YouTube videos helped give him an opportunity. Handoff Harris, slipping outside, and finally brought down.
A lot of missed tackles in that run.
Derek Wells just signed again from Minnesota, making the stop as we near the 2-minute warning here in Minnesota. And the Vikings, who have led from the start, are about to go to 2-0 in the preseason, and the Bucs preseason opener, they trail 26-16 with 2 minutes to go. Back with Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, and our Florida Hospital Player of the Game. Florida Hospital, exclusive hospital of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and a healthy performance from Louis Murphy.
Well, who says you have to be healthy in camp to have a healthy performance in the game? Our player of the game, Louis Murphy, 54 yards on his 3 receptions. Gave Jameis Winston some good targets, and we mentioned earlier about that 3rd receiver slot. That his performance today will definitely help him try to win that position this season.
The old Florida Gator coming up for the Bucs and looking on here in the final moment or so. It's interesting, this roster of 90 players. Ronnie, there's only 3 players that are over the age of 30, and Logan Mankins, you got Michael Cain, and one of them's a kicker.
Yep.
Obviously.
Well, you don't want to say you're ever rebuilding. I think the Bucs last year, really tried to buck that moniker by going out and signing some big-name free agents. Now, one of the things that I appreciate about this team is that they understood that some of those were mistakes, and they got their team better with addition by subtraction. You cut a defensive end that you signed to start, you cut an offensive tackle that you signed to start, and you realize that building a good franchise starts through the draft. You draft them, you develop them, they're your guys, you know what you have in them, and that's what they've done is they've hit a reset this year. But in the process of that, you have a really young football team still.
And that other veteran over we mentioned Vincent Jackson, yes, over the age of 30. I like the blend of his experience. He's 3 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Mike Evans in his 2nd year. Austin Seferian-Jenkins in his 2nd year. Doug Martin in an important year. So Jameis Winston surrounded by enough. If the offensive line fits with what he wants to do and Dirk Cutter's offense, it could be promising.
If the right pieces are there on the offensive line, the offense can thrive, I think. The injury to DeMar Dotson is significant. If it is serious, then I think they're taking a step back, and they got to go find a player to help shore up that offensive line. They got some help on defense, but we'll see how this team goes. We got 3 more preseason games to vet out what this team is going to be going forward.
Lovie Smith with Mike Zimmer. First ever preseason meeting for the Vikings and the Buccaneers. And Jameis Winston in his pro debut, 9 of 19, 131 yards, suffering an interception and sacked twice. But he ran 4 times for 18 yards, including an 8-yard touchdown run as the Vikings win 26-16. We'll have more from